fake eyelashes, your child should have a real computer with real internet access for learning. Give your kid a chance, would you? The Narrow Path is brought to you by Community Rule Nonprofit. We bring literacy skills to the community.
This is Lee Martin. Tune in to see what I'm saying. Every Tuesday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on RadioNext.tv, Cool Grooves. I'll see you there. Yeah, I like that one.
I was bumping into things, squinting, getting headaches. I knew something was wrong when I found out I was losing my sight. Bosma Enterprises answered all my questions about living with vision loss. They were the kind of resource that didn't just have a solution, they had my solution. They developed a plan for me based on who I was, on who I still am.
To learn more about Bosma services or make a donation, call 317-684-0600 or visit bosma.org.
Bosma Enterprises, navigating blindness since 1915.
Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
See what I'm saying. This is Lee Martin. See what I'm saying. This is Lee Martin. I'll see you there. Yeah, I like that one. We want to welcome everyone to Radio Next TV, Cool Grooves on the See What I'm Saying show. We trust that everyone has had a very safe and pleasant week. I know that it's been a very pleasant week for myself. And how about your week, co-host Flo?
It's been eventful.
Pleasantly eventful.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'll buy that for today. I'm not going to give you a hard time today because most of the listeners have told me I've got a few calls in.
About giving me a hard time?
I'm giving you a hard time. Mm-hmm. You know, but y'all
you
just don't
can't
know.
help yourself. You just can't help yourself.
They just don't know the pains and events I have to go through.
Oh.
Yeah, shoot. But anyhow, how's the family?
Everybody's fine.
Well, you know, that's good. And well as can be expected.
As well as to be expected.
Well, we just want to say for all those that aren't doing so well, get to feeling better, please. Those that got high temperatures and broken bones and everything else, just get to feeling better for us all. Because, hey, sometimes you guys are the stabilizers, and we need you to stabilize yourselves so you keep us stabilized, keep our society stabilized. So here on RadioNext.tv, we have a great guest today, and I am really, I don't know, I'm almost breathtaking to have this guest here at our studio today. And once you realize the magnitude of this individual and the growth of this individual, you'll be pleasantly, I guess, overwhelmed, as I often am when I'm in her presence. Little does she know that, though. I guess she knows it now.
And now she does.
But one of the young and upcoming women in the National Federation of the Blind is here with us today. And here on the See What I'm Saying show, we flip the script. It's actually See What You're Saying. And today we're welcoming a young lady. And Micah, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing fine. And Micah's here with us today, and she has a friend with her by the name of Verna. Did I say that right?
You did.
Okay. And we just want to welcome you and Verna to the show. I hope she's doing okay down there.
She's doing great.
Yes, and we'll have to talk about that because a lot of people don't know much about blindness nor service animals. Would you actually call her a service animal, or is she just a family member now.
Well, it depends on if she's wearing her harness. Usually it's service animal or seeing eye dog, guide dog, Verna, V, whatever comes out.
Okay. And so we want you to sit back and relax as we go through this particular program today. I know that Mika Ball will sure enough give us all a ball. We'll have a ball and a blast up in here today. And she'll share some of her reality. This is a young mother. She's also a student, an activist, a leader. And congratulations on your new leadership with the Indianapolis chapter of Indianapolis of the National Federation of the Blind. Another great organization, and they have a great leader. And we welcome you on to those journeys as well. So we're going to take a short pause for the calls, and we'll be right back on RadioNext.tv on the Cool Groove site. So, Tracy, what you got over there for us?
We got Marcus Miller's Girls and Boys.
Marcus Miller's Girls and Boys. Enjoy this particular jam. I really like this cut, so check it out.
All right, Marcus.
I was bumping into things, squinting, getting headaches. I knew something was wrong when I found out I was losing my sight. Bosma Enterprises answered all my questions about living with vision loss. They were the kind of resource that didn't just have a solution, they had my solution. They developed a plan for me based on who I was, on who I still am.
To learn more about Bosma services or make a donation, call 317-684-0600 or visit bosma.org.
Bosma Enterprises, navigating blindness since 1915.
Right, stepping out to the left like this. Yeah, stepping out for the night, looking for a good time with a couple of friends. Made a couple of plans to hit the dance floor. Henceforth, I'm a groove to my legs sore. Only groove with the people who I care for. Therefore, everybody's invited because love is what I stand for. We come together with nothing better to do. Unity is something we better improve. It's a beautiful thing we never pursue. If we come together, we never can lose. Stepping out never felt so good when the crowd just wanna enjoy themselves. Just groove to the rhythm of the beat. Gotta move your feet, but don't hurt yourself. Come on!
our special guest this evening, Miss Micah Ball. And Verna.
Verna.
Okay,
Yeah.
and Verna. So welcome back.
Thank you.
Well, now that we're back here on the show and we got Miss Micah Ball, I tell you, I always get her name so messed up sometimes. So if I mess it up, it's only because of the screen reader that I use. It had me calling you Micah for the longest. And, and they said, well, Lee, her name is Micah. I said, well, the computer says Micah. So
I've been called worse, I'm sure.
So, Micah again. Okay, Micah. See, I tell you, I'm so confused, it just don't make no sense. But anyhow, Micah, welcome to the See What I'm Saying show. And we want to welcome the host of listeners that are out there listening to Micah, that's with the National Federation of the Blind, and some of her families and friends, and those other listeners that we have. We just welcome that you all are in with us today. So I sent a special shout out to Miss Susan Jones. She's tuned in today. So, Micah, do you know Susan Jones's guide dog's name?
Oh, I should know it, and I just don't.
Well, maybe we can ask Verna. Verna. Okay. So I don't understand dog language, Verna, so I'll just get that a little bit later, okay? So, tell us a little bit about yourself. Were you born here in Indianapolis, Indiana?
I was actually born in Greenwood, which is just south of Indianapolis. I was born there, and I was raised there, and I lived there for the vast majority of my life. I did a short stint in Baltimore, and now I'm settled in Indianapolis.
Okay. So, were you born with a visual impediment?
I was born with optic nerve hypoplasia, and my parents found that out when I was about 3 months old. I guess babies are supposed to track things with their eyes, and I just wasn't doing that. And they were like, something's wrong. What happened to our baby? So they took me to the doctor, and they were like, well, she's blind. So my parents' first thought was, okay, that's okay. My mom's like, I'll give her an eye, and my dad said, okay, well, I'll give her an eye, and then she'll be fine. And the doctors were like, no, guys, I'm sorry, it doesn't quite work like that. So, so they kept me, and I was blind, and it all worked out.
Okay, so being raised in a household that's blind, and how did your family really adapt to that for you?
My family was great, and they still are great. Blindness was never a thing for them. They obviously, made sure that I got the educational services that I needed and different things, but they never coddled me. They never spoon-fed me. I learned how to ride a bike. I went canoeing. I went out and helped my dad work on the car, or, played around in the car while he worked. I wasn't really probably very helpful when I was that young, but they just were never... They were never worried about it. If I was hungry, it was go make a sandwich. It wasn't, oh, let me do this and this and this for you. So I appreciated that when I was young, but even more so now as I get older, I appreciate that a lot more.
Well, I know we once had a guest on the show by the name of, I'll just call her Jassy K. And she was born blind as well. And she, she's snuck into the cabinets and was getting cookies, and everyone else was getting blamed for it. Now, did you have any of those type of habits going on as a young child?
No, I don't think I ever snuck into cabinets for cookies. I ate plenty of cookies. Let's not get that messed up. But I don't think so. I was a really good kid. I followed all the rules, and I never ran away from my mom in the store. And I'm not going to say I was a perfect angel, but I was a pretty good kid.
Okay. Now, did you grow up using a cane?
It's interesting that you asked that, because I actually went to the Indiana School for the Blind for the vast majority of my education, and I didn't use a cane. I didn't use the cane until I got acquainted with the National Federation of the Blind, at which time I started to use the cane. So I didn't really get a cane in my hand until I was about 16 years old.
Okay, so with this particular condition, you do have some usable vision.
I do.
Okay, and so you can, like you told me earlier, you can actually see me.
Yeah, I can see you.
Okay.
I can see colors. I have usable vision in one eye of about 20/400.
Okay. You know, I really wished I had that type of vision myself. I'd be dangerous.
Well, sometimes it is dangerous
It is
because you're trying to use it and you really shouldn't be using it.
Exactly, and let's explain that to people a little bit. Let's because some people don't understand, you know, that theory of faulty vision, as we might call it. You want to expound on that just a little bit?
Sure. So I do have some vision, and it is usable for some things, and it's good for some things, like, you know, seeing pretty designs or looking at, you know, what color clothes I have or different things like that. But it's really not usable for reading or for if I'm going to work with like a hammer and nails. If I were going to use my vision, I would have my face right up next to the nail, and that's really not safe if you've got a hammer coming at that nail. So while I have some vision and I use it, it's a lot of times it's much more effective to use a non-visual technique and to do something as if I didn't have any vision at all, because it's safer, and a lot of times it's more effective and more efficient because the vision might work, but it's going to take 2 or 3 times longer than if I would just do something auditorily or tactily or just any other way that would not require the vision.
Now, Micah, does this condition progress over the years? Let's say, for instance, when you were younger, was your vision, your acuity, any, I guess, better than it is now?
That's a good question. When I was younger, the condition itself is supposed to be stable, but my acuity was about 20/200, and now, like I said, it's about 20/400. So it's gotten a little bit worse over the years, and I would actually attribute that to using it so much because when I was younger, I would try to use it for every little thing, and it, the muscles got tired and it just doesn't work quite as effectively because I used it so much that it just kind of deteriorated it. So again, that goes with the theory of maybe not using it for everything that you possibly could use it for.
Okay, and for those people that are not familiar with this condition, is this a hereditary condition, genetic, or?
It's not. Optic nerve hypoplasia basically just means that the optic nerves didn't develop, so there's not the wiring from my eyes to the back of my brain where your occipital lobe is just, it's bad wiring. They're small and they're malformed, and so it's not genetic. As far as I know, they don't know the cause for it, but I'm the only one in my family who's blind.
Okay.
Now, when you were, the decision was made for you to attend the school for the blind and vision impaired here in Indiana, your parents actually made that decision. So what age did you start attending the school?
I started when I was 5, so I went there for kindergarten on up through 12th grade.
Okay, were you a resident there as well as a student?
I did spend a lot of time there from about middle school on. I would do track or different other various activities, and so I ended up being residential in that way. But my elementary school years, I rode the bus to and from each day.
Now, did you were you introduced to Braille when you were introduced to Braille?
I was introduced to Braille in about the 7th grade. My dad talked to the folks at the school, and he said that he really wanted to make sure that in case I did lose the rest of my vision, or just to give me kind of another tool in the toolbox, as it were, that he was very adamant about me learning Braille. So I did learn it then, and I'm happy that I did.
Okay. With that said, happy that you did learn Braille. Let's talk about Braille a little bit and the value of Braille to you, and as you see it through your eyes and the Federation's philosophy, the importance of Braille. Let's talk about the importance of Braille for students and adults.
At the risk of sounding really corny, Braille is literacy. Every kid in America is guaranteed the right to go to school and to have the opportunity to learn how to read, and that's what Braille is for blind kids, or even kids like me with some residual vision. And that's not to say that I didn't use print and I didn't use it okay, but Braille is, again, another tool in the toolbox. And so the days when I would get a headache from reading so much print, or my eyes would just hurt so bad from trying to focus on this large print, I could go to Braille. And had I learned it earlier, I think I would have been faster at it, because I'm not super fast at it now. But it's still, I can go to Braille and I can use that, and it really it's more effective and it's better because I'm not causing so much pain to my eyes and to my head just trying to read. And that's the same for my story is not unique. So many kids in America have that same story. So many blind kids.
Mm-hmm. And I'm glad that you mentioned that Braille is literacy. And there's a program called the Bell Program. You want to talk about that just for a little bit?
Sure. The Bell Program, which is Braille Enrichment for Literacy and Learning, is a program that the National Federation of the Blind does in many state affiliates. There's currently not a program in Indiana, but we're looking to get one. But the program is a 2-week intensive Braille camp for kids who don't get enough Braille during the school year or who could just benefit from Braille enrichment over the summer. And the program is designed for kids ages 4 to 12, and they go and they do a ton of different activities with Braille, reading Braille, writing Braille, incorporating Braille into technology, incorporating Braille into fun and learning and games. They also learn how to do non-visual skills, like I mentioned earlier. So how to cook, how to mix, how to pour, how to spread different things that daily living skills that they need to have in order to be on a competitive level with their peers. And so it's a summer program that the NFB does, and it's been really, really successful for a lot of the affiliates that have done it.
Well, I'll tell you what, we look forward to working toward having the Bell Project here
Absolutely.
in Indiana, and with you at the helm of that. So we're going to take a short break here on RadioNext.tv, and so that we can have a little literacy here. What are you pretty literate today, co-host Flo?
I want to think I am.
Well, it's often said, if you can't read print and you can't read Braille,
you're illiterate.
That's what is said.
That's what it said.
But people want to get around it with technology, and technology is great. And but yeah, we're going to be literate enough to go on break here, and we want you to enjoy the nice sounds that's coming your way. And if you have any questions, you can text me at 317-709-7747. Once again, you can text me here on the show at 317-709-7747. Take good care. We'll be right back in a very few short minutes. Enjoy the music.
I am a blind vendor, and one of the things that I truly miss is reading Vending Times magazine.
Hoosiers can hear Indiana magazines, circulars, national magazines, and information from across the globe. Learn more by calling 855-963-6476 or visit nfbnewsline-in.org.
We want to welcome you all back
It is
to
a
Radio
fantastic
Next
service.
TV on the Cool Group
Subscribe
site on
free
See What I'm
to
Saying show
NFB
with
Newsline
guest
today.
Micah Ball and co-host Flo and myself, Lee Martin. We just want to say that we are located. We're located at 6267 Kaufman Road in Indianapolis. For those of you that are outside the state, and you'll hear a lot of things here that we talk about in state, but in your own state, you do have some of these facilities as well. And we encourage you to look up your different entities, such as the School for the Blind and the National Federation of the Blind, and being a fair show. We also say the American Council for the Blind, and I guess they are for the blind, aren't they? Mm-hmm. And we're of the blind. So there's a great distinction, but check out both of the organizations, and we just want to encourage you to get busy and find these resources, and also for eye conditions, if you want to check out some good medical information, you can go to afb.org. So once again, that's afb.org. So we're back with Micah Ball. Dang. Well, I'll be striking, but I don't know how many gutters I done threw.
You got about 3 more, Lee.
3 more gutters to go.
That's it. I'm leaving after 3 more.
3 more. Okay. All right now. Okay. Micah. Okay. So I got 6 more now.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Well then, how was your schooling at the School for the Blind? How did that go for you?
Well, I started going there when I was 5. I was a kindergartner, and it's funny because I really didn't want to go there. I was, like I say, 5 years old, and I didn't know I was blind. I had no idea that my eyes worked any differently than anyone else. And so I remember sitting at the table with my grandma, and she's like, we're gonna go check out the blind school. And I was like, well, why? What are we gonna do there? She's like, well, because you can go to school there. And I said, I don't understand. I'm not blind. Why would I want to do that? And so they sort of tabled it there, and I remember going with my parents and my grandparents for a conference, and I pitched a fit. I just was not blind, and I didn't understand why I was there, and I'm banging my head against the wall, and if you knew me when I was 5 years old, you would know that was just very uncharacteristic, and so that's how my experience at the blind school started, was me being very reluctant and very not understanding why I was going there, because, I had some vision. I wasn't totally blind. Why did I need to go to the blind school? But so it started off there, and it was really rocky for me for about 3 days, and then I had an amazing kindergarten teacher. She was phenomenal, and I'm sure still is, and it ended up being a really good experience for me. Elementary school and middle school, and then into high school when I got into sports and other clubs and activities, and finding the NFB, like I said, when I was about 16, it ended up being a pretty well-rounded experience for me.
Okay, and while you were at the School for the Blind, while you were at the School for the Blind, I guess you mentioning that you did not know that you were blind. Mm-hmm. Do you feel that I guess you wouldn't have had anything to compare it with. I'm kind of jumping ahead of myself because I want to ask you something else, but I'm going to kind of wait on that. But you mentioned that you participated in sports, mm-hmm. Track and field.
Sure, yeah, I did track and field. I hated running. I still hate running, but I liked the field events, and it was something to do, so I did that. I did wrestling for a time when I was younger. I did cheerleading, swimming, that was my favorite, and then forensics, which is sort of like public speaking, different things like that. I also outside of the blind school, I played football. I played tackle football when I was
really?
in middle school.
Man,
Yeah.
you just a pretty tough little young lady.
Yeah, I was kind of blown when she said wrestling. You know?
That one kind of blew me away too.
Yep.
Okay, now, did you have a pretty good record wrestling?
I was not the best wrestler. I wasn't fast enough. I was strong enough, but I just wasn't super fast. So I did that for a couple of years, and then I moved on to swimming, which I was much better at. So.
Okay.
Now, were you ever at School for the Blind when Bill Powell was there?
I was, actually. He was the one who taught me Braille when I learned it in middle school.
Really?
Yep. Good guy.
That's awesome. He
Great
is.
guy.
He
Great
is.
guy. So, with your academics, when you graduated from the School for the Blind, how would you say they prepared you for post-education?
My SAT scores would say that they prepared me well. So I applied to and got into Indiana University. I applied to other places and got in there as well, but I chose to go to IU. So when I got to college, I didn't feel behind. I mean, I think every freshman has some jitters when they first go to college, but they did a good job. I think I held my own.
And when you went to college, what was your main field of study?
I had a double major. I double majored in psychology and gender studies, and then I had minors in Spanish and human sexuality and human development.
Oh, Spanish.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't ask me to speak it now, though, because it's not, and I wouldn't call it my forte, but it worked out. I spent, actually, probably, I shouldn't say this, but more of my time in college rowing than I did studying. I was on the IU varsity rowing team, so that was fun. I got to continue my athletics into college, which is something that I didn't think that I would be able to do post high school, being just a regular student, and then on top of that, being a blind student.
Mm-hmm. Now, prior to going to college, while you were at School for the Blind, how was your dating? How did you feel about dating while being at School for the Blind? Did you date any of the other students that were there?
I didn't do too much dating. It's kind of a thing where a lot of students are residential, and you hang out with the same group of 10 or 12 people all day and all night, so you get to know people a little bit better than maybe you would want to in order to date them. Mm-hmm. So I had a really good group of friends, but I didn't do too much dating in high school.
When you went to college, I'll put the same question to you. How was dating for you in college as a I guess we could call you you have a high profile blind citizen?
I had a boyfriend actually through, I guess, the later part of high school, so I shouldn't say that I didn't date much in high school, but I had a boyfriend in the later part of high school and then all through college. He didn't go to school at IU. He was at school in Terre Haute, and then he had moved to Texas for a job, so he wasn't around per se, but he was around. Mm-hmm. It was good.
So as a young blind female, did you ever have any real concerns about ever just dating or meeting a guy or meeting someone in your life that would be a significant other?
I didn't. I think that by the time that dating was anything on my radar, I had run across the NFB, and I had a good, healthy perspective on blindness, and I knew from my parents, they're really big on knowing who you are and being a confident individual in that way. So I had the NFB and my parents kind of converging on me, so that I knew that dating and relationships would come if and when they were supposed to, and blindness wasn't a big deal, and it wasn't anything to be ashamed of or that was going to make somebody not want to date me. So that I think the short answer to that would be no. Not really.
Okay, so some of those same basic philosophies of the National Federation of the Blind was introduced to you in your home. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's great. Now, when were you introduced to the National Federation of the Blind?
I went to my first NFB convention in 2004, so I was 14, and we had a technology club at the School for the Blind that was sponsored by the technology teacher and then a professor from Butler. They kind of worked together, and they took us to the NFB convention to make a presentation to the National Organization of Parents of Blind Children. Or they told us they were taking us there so that we could make a presentation, but really they were taking us there so that we could benefit ourselves. But you can't tell a bunch of teenagers that, right? So I learned about the NFB there, and I went to this first convention, and I was just blown away, and maybe not in a good way, because I just was like, why is everybody so gung-ho? Why are we suing all these people? What are we doing? And it didn't occur to me, my 14-year-old self, that the world is not as equal and fair and easy to fly through as a blind person that I thought it might be. So that I had to it was kind of my reality check, I guess, the first time I went to a convention. And then I went to a couple other conventions after that, and then I participated in some of the early science programs that the Jernigan Institute did, the Rocket On programs, and that was a really big step in knowing what the NFB is and knowing who I was and getting a really sound philosophy about blindness for me.
Well, I must say that from my knowledge of you, you're a very sound young lady, and it is my pleasure to sit right across from this table and also to be a constituent of yours in this organization. And I know that it'll be in great hands long after I've gone on, and some of the other cronies gone on too. So,
well, thank you for that.
But with the National Federation of the Blind, you spoke of the Parents Division. Now, you want to talk a little bit more about the Parents Division, how that may have had an effect on you as well, now that you are a parent?
Sure. Like I said, the first presentation that I made, or really the first thing that I did with the NFB was talking to the Parents Division. And having had such great parents myself, had a little bit of a disadvantage to it, in that I didn't quite realize some of the struggles that parents were going through, and some of the grief that they had, and some of the difficulties that their kids were going through in the education system, because I did have it so good. And so it was through kind of the Parents Division and networking with some of those parents and kind of learning their stories that made me have sort of a zest and a passion for working with blind kids now. And then as I became a mother myself, my son is not blind, but it was learning from them and other blind parents, before he was born, that I feel like I'm able to be a successful parent myself.
Sorry. And your child is what age? I'm sorry.
He's 2.5.
2.5.
Yes.
Okay.
He's crazy, rambunctious, wonderful little 2.5-year-old, and I could spend this entire hour talking about him. So.
Okay. Now, you've been with the Federation since 2004, and you've seen a lot of things since you've been in the Federation. And I know that there are things that you personally would like to see done. Is there anything that kind of stands at the top of the list that you would like to see happen?
Well, that's a heavy question. I think that some of the things that I would like to see happen are happening, which is why I spend a lot of time doing Federation work and being really involved with the organization, because the things that I see as important, which would be programs for students,
yes.
Helping blind individuals that are newly blind be okay with their blindness, be proud of their blindness, and have the skills that they need. I think so. Those two areas are my two passions, and I think that we do those things really well. There's always room for improvement, of course. It would be great if we had more youth programs, and it would be great if every single person, when they went blind, the first organization that they heard of was the NFB. But I think that we do a good job, and that's
yes.
why I hang around, because we don't just sit around and talk about it. We actually get out on the streets and find people and help people and make a difference in people's lives.
Yes, I think so too. Now, being with the NFB, National Federation of the Blind, what do you believe to be one of your biggest challenges so far? Have you seen anything as being a big challenge for you personally?
Well, the one thing is I have to stop myself some, and I want to say yes to everything. I want to do every project. I want to be on every committee and every organization, or subdivision or whatever. And I have to stop myself and say, you know what? No, you're going to be more effective at a smaller group of things that you can devote more time to than trying to do everything. That's, I guess, the problem of having sort of broad interests.
Okay. And I'm going to turn that around. What do you think, you feel that was your biggest triumph since being in the NFB?
I really like that I've been very, very fortunate and very blessed to be able to work on a lot of the youth programs on a national level and some here in Indiana on a local level, and being able to work with the students and their parents and see the change that's happening and see that I'm going to sound corny again, that light bulb come on and they realize, hey, you know what, there's nothing wrong with me, I can live a productive life, my son or daughter can live a productive life, the parental light bulb comes on too. I think that's been the most rewarding and the most impactful for me.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I must say that your journey thus far is one that's going to be a great example for so many. And so we're going to take a short break, and we're going to pause for a minute, and we're going to play one song here, and we'll be right back with a guest that'll be in the show for a few minutes. We're going to talk about the movie, a movie that's recently out called Straight Outta Compton. This young lady lived in Compton, and she wants to share with the listening audience for a few minutes. And we're going to let her do that, and we'll be right back with the guest, Miss Tracy Bishop, originally from Gary, Indiana, and Compton. Man, there's two different places right there. So we'll be right back with her for 10 minutes or less, and we'll come right back with Miss Micah Ball and listen to some more of her realities. So we'll see you right back here in a few short seconds. So let's see what I'm saying, y'all.
Welcome back to the See What I'm Saying show.
Okay, and what's that pretty little name of yours?
Kadasi.
Kadasi. All right, Kadasi.
Good job.
Say it loud.
Thank you,
Okay, well, thank you very much. So, Kadasi's getting ready to go get her some M&Ms and some pizza, and she's getting ready to have herself a nice little ball.
Yeah, a little sugar rush.
She needs it all that
Yes,
yes.
So, we're taking a short pause with Micah Ball, and now we have on our show Miss Tracy Bishop.
Yes, how you all doing?
All right, Tracy
Thank
Bishop.
you for having us. It's a blessing to be
Yes.
here. Pleasure to be here.
Yes, and we are, we're just talking, and the movie just came out, Straight Outta Compton.
Yes, I've been trying not to see walk all week.
And you're originally from Gary, Indiana.
Yeah, born and raised in Gary, Indiana. It was a pleasure to be there until things, just economical things changed. So kind of relocated myself, and then I took the pleasure to see how much talent that I really have, and I moved out to L.A. So I actually got a chance to see another part of the world because, like I said, Compton and Crenshaw and Baldwin Hills, and actually see the movie in NWA, it really kind of pulled all that together. And I really don't think people even understand the depth and the history behind that movie, because actually it's actually a way of life out there. It's really a way of life. It actually scared me a tad bit. You something you always see in the movies, but when you get out there and you actually realize that is actually the way they live. It's not a movie. That's a way of life.
Now, when you relocated there, did you have any family there already, or
No,
you
I
just
didn't.
went along?
I went out on a wing and a prayer. I really did. I think that was back into my becoming Stella, getting a groove back. I was coming out of a divorce and wanted to prove what I could do.
So you mean you went to Compton to get your Stella groove back?
Yes, I did, because everyone kept
That
saying
must
I
have
was
been the
telling.
Gary in you.
Yeah, and then my mom, she's a very independent woman too. So I asked my mom. At first, I was nervous. I said, "Should I go?" She said, "You can always come home."
Okay.
And once she said that, she said, "You can always come back home." God, there's a whole world out here. She said, "You can always come home," and that was like. And actually, she told me, "Give me a place to visit." So I think my mom enjoyed it better than I did, because she got to go and work out with Billy Blanks, and she got her nails done. She had the mud baths. I didn't get to do a lot of that because I was actually working. And like I said, I really